Hi everybody, today's video is about the VFR 1200 and how it relates to the Honda Blackbird. Obviously the VFR followed on from the Honda Blackbird, but it's important that we don't view it totally as a replacement for the Blackbird. Honda did try to replace the Blackbird as a new Blackbird, and I believe they ran out of time and missed the production slot or something like that, or couldn't really finalise what they wanted to do with it, and so they turned to the VFR 1200. And I guess you could look at the VFR 1200 as a bigger 800 really, because it's a VFR model range. It's not a CBR. The Honda Blackbird was a CBR, it was an inline 4. So it doesn't really compare the same as a CBR really. And also the Honda Blackbird was released to capture the fastest production bike in the world title from the Kawasaki ZZR 1100, which it did. So it was designed for a specific purpose, and I love them. I mean, I love Blackbirds. I think they're fabulous. Every time I've ridden one, and I've owned one for a short time, fabulous bike. And when I first rode one, I honestly thought it was the best bike I'd ever ridden at the time, you know, fabulous things. But as I say, different to the VFR 1200, so difficult to really compare, say one is better than the other. Not quite an apple and an orange situation, but similar. And I hate to talk about the top speed thing. I mean, obviously the VFR is limited, and therefore is slower than the Blackbird. But overall performance figures, the VFR, because it's a bigger engine, it does have more power and torque, but it's a different bike, as I say. The VFR, although it's a sports tourer, it actually handles a bit more sportily than the Blackbird, and I can say that with reasonable confidence. Yes, you know it's heavy, not that much heavier than the Blackbird. Yes, it's got a long wheelbase, but it actually feels sporty. The handling is definitely sporty than the Blackbird, even though you imagine because of the top speed of the Blackbird that it's a sporty bike. And obviously there was more clues to its sports touring heritage, the VFR, because it's better shaft drive and built-in panniers and things like that. They both suffer from the rubbish screen, unfortunately, like the CBR did. So I think, as I say, it's important that we don't compare them particularly like for like. I could easily run a Blackbird and a VFR 1200 and think I had two different types of bikes. There's some bikes you perhaps wouldn't do that with, you know. So really the purpose of making this video was just to say that if I'm a bit defensive of the VFR, if somebody makes a remark and says, well, it wasn't as good as the Blackbird for whatever reason, and if I come over a bit defensive, it's simply because I don't see them as like for like. I see them as different types of bikes, and it's often when I've made some very positive remarks about the VFR that I will get the odd comment that suggests, because I'm saying good things about the VFR, that I'm knocking the Blackbird. Not at all, as I say. I love the Honda Blackbird. So I hope you didn't mind that sort of input. It's not something that's mentioned a great deal on the internet. It just tends to be either, oh, I prefer the Blackbird, or I prefer the VFR 1200. But as I say, you could look at the VFR 1200 as just the biggest bike in the VFR range, rather than a Blackbird follow-on, as it were. So I hope you got something from that, and I'll catch you next time. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.